Yo, what is going on, my gamers in Christ? Hello. One moment while I share the link, then we'll start our show. While I share the link and boot up Wizards 101. Booting up Wizards 101 is mandatory in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. Wizards 101 is active. And we got a lot to do in Wizards 101, so now let me go to YouTube. Let me go to YouTube and let me share this link real quick. God, the Front Mission 4 music is just so goddamn inspirational. It's just so inspirational. Doesn't this get your vibes going? Doesn't it? Let me go here. Let me open up the link. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Gets me out there in the algorithm. The dreaded algorithm. We all know about that. Alright, let me go to the library. And at everyone. By the way, I finally have switched over my, I finally have switched over my, setup. So now it's not in high contrast mode anymore, which is nice, you know. I'll say it, the high contrast mode does look like shit, okay? But I do have bad eyes, so that's what we gotta deal with there. Anyways, now that we shared the stream, we're also going to go to Ice Beans, and we're gonna share the link there. Then we'll go to Wix. Obviously, you gotta go to Wix. I'm on Wix. I'm kidding. I'm joking around. I'm yanking your chain. Alright. Let us go to... Let's turn off the music for one. While we do appreciate the Front Mission 4 music, always, we got a lot to watch. First, we got PBS News hour to go through. PBS News Weekend Hour, ladies and gentlemen. Because I've been away for a day or two, just to catch up with everything that's going on. And then after that, we're gonna finally watch this. The Left Hates America. I would love to know why I hate America and how much I hate America, and this woman's gonna inform me. One moment, I do have to switch my chat to live chat. There we go. And then after that, we've got The Left Doesn't Want You to See This. He's gonna expose our secrets. Zuby's about to expose everything, ladies and gentlemen. So get excited for that. And then we've got Nick Shirley confronting radical leftist protesters in DC. They're so radical, they're following the law. That's how radical they are. So get ready for that. Get ready to be outraged, as I know many of you will be at this man. And then finally, if we have time, we have a video by Glenn Kirshner. Pete Hegg says kill them all order is a war crime, constitutes a war crime. So I think that'll be interesting to get into. But let's start off with a little PBS News Hour. Turn it down a little for you guys. And I'm gonna go in some Wizards 101. So make sure you're paying attention to the bottom left, or bottom right-hand corner. Very important. Yeah, I saw this. Trump has decided to show his hand a little bit and just close down Venezuelan airspace. I was reporting on this a little bit yesterday. Very distressing news. See, Trump's popularity is so bad, and I feel like he thinks starting a war is going to boost it. But if anything, this will make him even less popular because, as the poll I showed yesterday suggests, Americans are just gonna need better explanation on why we're in Venezuela. So this is some interesting news all around.
On drug cartels. Then the Americans who have full-time jobs but can't afford a place to live. And we shine a light on a little-known piece of American history. The women lighthouse keepers who kept the shoreline beacons illuminated for generations.
These women are, remarkable for their strength, I think. Most of them didn't think what they were doing as remarkable or interesting or strange. They did their jobs, they did them well.
Interesting. Very interesting. We'll probably skip that part. I'm not gonna lie. No offense to the women lighthouse
for
keepers.
PBS News Weekend has been provided by.
In 1995, two friends set out to make wireless coverage accessible to all. With no...
All right, guys, PBS is sponsored by Consumer Cellular. Go out there and get yourself a Consumer Cellular phone.
Good evening, I'm John Yang. After weeks of escalating...
Yo, what up, John? This is our homie right here. If you guys don't know John Yang, fucking goddamn Chad.
Tensions, President Trump increased pressure on Venezuela today by declaring that the nation's airspace should be considered closed, even though he doesn't have the legal authority to close it. With a substantial U.S. military...
Well, he doesn't really care about legal authority. That's something that is really pissing me off. Truly. I wish the courts had more enforcement mechanisms. It's so ridiculous that they don't. I think the next president really needs to buff the courts. I mean, we're talking giving them an entire arm in which they can go after people, because as we're seeing, just having one enforcement branch is just gives that branch too much power.
Military buildup in the region. Today's announcement fuels speculation about what's next. Earlier this week, Mr. Trump said his war on drug smuggling would soon enter a new phase.
And in recent weeks, you've been working to deter Venezuelan drug traffickers, of which there are many, and we'll be starting to stop them by land also. The land is easier, but that's going to start very soon. We warn them, stop sending.
God, it's so obvious he just wants to start a war. You know what I mean? Because Trump's approval ratings are in the absolute garbage right now. I mean, this guy is unpopular, ladies and gentlemen. Never forget. He is one of the most unpopular presidents to exist. Meanwhile, Chad Biden, rated number 14 in most in presidents of all time. Think about that. Number 14. Trump could only dream of that.
Poison to our country.
Since September, U.S. forces have struck nearly 24 boats alleged to be carrying drugs in the Caribbean and the...
And that's something else. Alleged. a lot of these, some of these boats, I read an article, may not have been drug boats, ladies and gentlemen. Which, if that's the case, that is extremely illegal and probably constitutes a war crime. Well, there's no probably about it. If they're innocent, it does constitute a war crime. But we don't even know, I mean, the legality of these boat strikes is up in the air as well, because we don't know if the president really even has the authority to be conducting these strikes.
Eastern Pacific, killing an estimated 80 people. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro says his country will defend itself against any foreign threat. Overnight in Ukraine, Russia carried out a deadly barrage of drone and missile attacks. At least
Oh, yes. Yeah, it seems like Russia is totally at the table, ladies and gentlemen. They're totally ready to give a to negotiate in peace talks.
At least 3 people were killed in and around the country's capital city. Kyiv's mayor said dozens of others were injured as debris from intercepted drones fell onto residential buildings. The Ukrainian delegation has arrived in the United States for more discussions about a possible peace
By the
deal.
way, guys,
And next week,
if the
Trump
sound is
administration
good,
officials-
let me know in the chat. I just want to make sure everything is sounding all right for you guys. I'm using some different headphones today, so I want to make sure everything is perfectly crystal clear for my gamers out there.
are to go to Moscow. On the year's busiest travel weekend, the FAA has ordered airlines to update software in a widely used aircraft by midnight tonight. Airbus issued a software fix for about 6,000 of its A320
By the way, guys, if
family
you're
of
enjoying
jets.
the stream, please make sure to like and subscribe. It
An
really helps
analysis
out the
found
channel.
that solar radiation bursts may corrupt key data needed for flight controls. They say that's likely why a JetBlue flight suddenly lost altitude last month, sending more than a dozen people to hospitals.
Oh, well,
American,
that's
Delta, and
terrifying.
United all say they expect the fix to be done quickly and with minimal disruption. The acclaimed British playwright Tom Stoppard has died. His career spanned decades. He won 5 Best Play Tony Awards, the first in 1968 for the absurdist twist on Hamlet, Romeo and Love. Tom Stoppard was 88.
Rest in peace to Tom
As family
Stoppard.
and friends gather this holiday season, there's a warning for new parents. The CDC says cases of whooping cough or pertussis remain elevated this year.
Ah, I wonder why that is. I wonder why whooping cough is making a comeback. That's the comeback nobody expected. Whooping cough. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Kentucky this week, an unvaccinated infant died from the illness, the 3rd child to die of
that
whooping
is
cough
so
in the state this
heartbreaking.
year. Other states across the country, including Texas, Florida, California, and
Honestly,
Oregon,
guys,
are
it's
also
so
experiencing
heartbreaking,
a surge of cases. Allie
that children are going to die because of RFK's stupid ideas about vaccines.
Rogan spoke with Dr. Lauren Walker, a pediatric infectious disease specialist.
Thank you so much for joining us. First of all, can you just tell us
No
what
way.
is whooping cough? What are the characteristic signs of it, and what should people look out for?
So whooping cough is an infection that used to be very common. It's caused by a bacteria called pertussis. And the old kind of classic name for it is the 100-day cough. And it's famous for causing...
The 100-day cough. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. We now have to survive ancient illnesses known as the 100-day cough. Let's go. It makes them stronger, right? It'll toughen them up.
long-term respiratory illness. And in older kids and adults, the primary symptom is very severe, prolonged bouts of coughing. And coughing that can be severe enough to cause a collapsed lung or a broken rib. And so obviously it's something that makes people pretty sick. It turns out that the groups that are at the highest risk
God, this is all so stupid.
with whooping cough are people who have compromised immune systems. So folks who have cancer or who are transplant recipients, but especially young babies. And one of the challenges with little babies is that instead of having coughing spells, they often will just stop breathing, which is a reason that those kids will often come into the hospital or even need ICU care with a breathing tube to help them breathe. And so that's why we vaccinate starting at 2 months of age to try and protect that population that's so vulnerable to severe disease with whooping cough.
Well, according to RFK, all you really need to do is just just infect a blanket and give it to them. You know, that actually, the Native Americans got it all wrong. That was not killing them, actually. It was just making them stronger.
And so why is it that whooping cough
Interestingly
might
enough.
cause worse symptoms in an infant than it would in an older child or an adult?
We think that in babies, it's a combination of their immature immune system as well as the immature sort of breathing responses that they have to infections like this.
By the
So
way,
it's
guys, if you're
very
enjoying the stream,
inflammatory and
please make
irritating
sure
to
to
the
like
lungs,
and
if you're
subscribe. I do a show every day. Almost every day. Yesterday I didn't stream just because I was sleepy, but almost every day where I talk about news, politics, and while I do, I game. Get a little Wizards 101 action going. One of the best card games ever. So, if that sounds interesting to you guys, I would really appreciate a like and a sub. Anyways, let me continue on with
for
PBS
an older
News.
kid or an adult, you cough. But unfortunately, in the little babies, it's they'll
No way, I just got the Grumpy Gobblers theme. You guys have... I just got the Grumpy Gobblers. Oh, geez. It's
they'll
over.
stop breathing, and they'll stop breathing kind of unexpectedly.
There are these 3 tragic deaths so far that we know of in Kentucky, which are the first deaths that state has seen from this disease since 2018. What do we know about the frequency of whooping cough diagnoses right now? Has there been an uptick? And is what we are
Well, yes, there seems to have been a large portion of people getting whooping cough. We don't exactly know why. It may have something to do with the leader of the NHS telling people vaccines are a conspiracy, but yeah, no idea. No idea what's going on there.
seeing now unusual?
2024 and 25 have both been very difficult years for whooping cough here in the United States. Here in Oregon in 2025, we've had more than 1,300
Difficult.
cases,
Oh, that is
which is the
so
highest number since
scary.
1950. And we've had more than 33,000 cases across the country. And it's not just Oregon where we're seeing a lot of cases, but also in states like Texas and Washington. We've been seeing unusually high numbers of whooping cough cases.
So the CDC says that these whooping cough numbers are higher even than they were before the pandemic. Why do you think that is?
Unfortunately,
Oh, geez. Is he allowed to say it? Is he allowed to say it? When a foreigner resides amongst you, do not mistreat them. Leviticus 19:33-34. Amen. I love that little line in the Bible. I'm personally not a practitioner of the faith, but I always appreciate true Christians who are willing to speak out against this Christian nationalism. So to K Tedler .5, I appreciate that. I think that's very poignant. Do I have to defeat the Gobbler King? Oh, geez. I have to defeat the Gobbler Prince to get to the Gobbler King. Oh, geez.
Fortunately, the rates of vaccination against whooping cough have been falling for years, even going back prior to the COVID pandemic. Currently in Oregon, 1 out of every 5 2-year-olds hasn't completed their full whooping cough series of vaccinations. And 1 out of every 10 kindergartner that's starting school and being exposed to lots of other kids and people are not up to date on their whooping cough vaccines. And we're pretty confident that the low rates of vaccination are the key risk factor for having this high number of cases.
When we talk about children who aren't getting this vaccine, is it possible to figure out how many haven't completed this?
Some Bible quotes. Not all who say to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of my Father. There we go. Saying it best, K. Tedler. You know, it's very true. Within the Christian faith, like a lot of these Christian nationalists just do not truly understand the true meaning of the Bible.
5-dose course of this particular vaccine, and how many are because they're not getting it at all because of something like vaccine hesitancy?
We know that kids are the most protected when they have the full course of pertussis vaccination. We start at 2 months of age because we know that the young kids and babies are at the highest risk. Certainly, misinformation and myths about vaccination are one of the drivers of low vaccine rates. Unfortunately, that's not a new phenomenon. Misinformation and myths about vaccines started 200 years ago when we had our first smallpox vaccine, which obviously worked because we don't have smallpox anymore. But that the
Well, hold on now. It might be making a comeback. Don't count smallpox out quite yet. It might be making a comeback, ladies and gentlemen. Smallpox.
misconceptions about vaccination, I think, are a real driver of people being reluctant to vaccinate.
And as families travel for the holidays and they might be worried about encountering a disease like this, especially if they have a young child, what should families be mindful of?
A lot of the things that we all got used to and learned during the COVID pandemic, like washing our hands, covering our coughs, or maybe staying a little bit further away if you're having symptoms of a respiratory infection, all help prevent spread of all infections. But for these vaccine-preventable illnesses like whooping cough, not only having children vaccinated, but having the folks around them vaccinated will help protect everybody.
Dr. Lauren.
I just feel like this was common sense before RFK came around. Like, now people are starting to not believe in germ theory. I'm telling you, these people, like Nick Friedtut, they don't believe in the Enlightenment. So they don't even believe in germ theory. Think about that. They don't believe in germ theory.
Walker at Dornbecker Children's Hospital, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Still to come on PBS News Weekend, why so many Americans who are gainfully employed can't afford a home, and the women who saved countless lives at sea as lighthouse keepers.
All right, so we're gonna go to the section about Americans not being able to afford homes, and then we'll go to some of our right-wing, our favorite right-wing content
The
creators.
skyrocketing cost of living has left millions of people working at full-time jobs or a number of part-time jobs still unable to afford a place to live. Ali Rogan is back with her conversation with journalist Brian Goldstone.
I mean,
author.
this is a tragedy, ladies and gentlemen. What is Donald Trump doing to help the homeless? I feel like that's one of the biggest issues in America, is our rising homeless population. And what is Donald Trump doing to help them? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. He's threatening to put them into asylum. Asylum! We shut those things down for good reason. But now, so, you know, Donald Trump's bright idea is to, instead of addressing the economic issues that put these people in that situation, he's gonna throw them into a fucking asylum. Genius, truly.
Of There Is No Place for Us about this growing nationwide crisis.
Thank you so much for joining us. In your work, you've come to know many people who may have more than one job, but have come into circumstances where they cannot afford to keep a roof over their heads. Certainly, each person has a unique story, but are there any common threads in their experiences that you've been able to identify?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I do argue in my book that in cities across America today, in one city after another, a low-wage job really is homelessness waiting to happen. And what they have in common is they all belong to the low-wage workforce. And it's not
Very true. This is interesting. There needs to be better protections for these low-wage workers. There needs to be way more protections.
just that their wages are too low to keep up with the skyrocketing cost of having a place to live. It's also that the jobs themselves have become increasingly.
Yeah, never forget, Donald Trump tried to run on affordability, and he is not keeping up his end of the bargain. He's just not, ladies and gentlemen.
Volatile and precarious, where they often don't know how many hours they're going to be getting from one week to the next. Their employers give them 29 hours a week because at 30 they would be eligible for basic benefits like health insurance or sick leave. And yeah, the cost of housing, rents are just very, very quickly outpacing what their incomes are. So that's kind of the backdrop that that defines these people's existence.
For a long time, the stereotypical perception of homelessness is that it is something that happens to people on the fringes of society, and that may have
I never have seen that. I never had that idea of homeless. I've always thought of homelessness as a very real threat to most Americans.
never been accurate. But what have you found out in your reporting about the reality of what it's like to be without a home?
Yeah, I mean, one really astonishing truth about homelessness in America is that what we see on the street is really the tip of the iceberg. There's this entire world of homelessness that is out of sight, that has been rendered invisible. And within that shadow realm of homelessness, as I refer to it,
Not the shadow realm. No, the shadow realm. Don't go there. Your mind will wander in the shadow realm.
it is overwhelmingly populated with people, again, who are part of the low-wage work.
That's something else, is that homelessness does not just affect, like, the people that you see that are homeless are typically just the people that can't afford a car. A lot of homelessness has people in living inside their car instead of living just on the streets.
Workforce, who families with children, and these are people who are working and working and working some more, and it simply is not enough to secure one of life's most basic necessities, a roof overhead. I mean, to be sure, in the richest nation on the planet, nobody should be without housing. But
Amen. Amen. You must have been ignoring Obama and Biden's treason. What did they do that was treason, and how does that affect what we're talking about right now? What did they do? Can you please name me what they did that was a treasonous act? If you can explain to me in simple terms what treasonous acts they did, I will concede that.
these pernicious myths and stereotypes that homelessness is just caused by addiction or it's just caused by
But something
mental
tells
illness,
me,
it
something
really
in the
is
back
not.
of my mind tells me you have no idea what they're accused of, and you're just repeating Fox News talking points. That's just my theory. It's just a game theory, but it's a theory that has held true multiple times.
Borne out by the reality on the ground. And indeed, often mental illness and addiction is a consequence of this form of insecurity, not its cause.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the lives of the homeless workers are day in and day out? And also, do those lives get harder during the holidays?
I think it's
Hey, Joshua, I don't even know how to say your last name. Aider? Russian bot asset in waiting. But how do you feel about Donald Trump not addressing these issues? How do you feel about the number of homeless people rising? Like that, I care more about that than whatever the fuck Obama and Biden were doing in the past. I care more about my Americans right now being safe and being well fed. But something tells me the Kremlin is telling you not to agree with that. Thank God Kamula lost. Look at that. This man can't even spell.
It's really easy
Oh,
for
hello. Didn't notice
terms
stream
like the
started over
housing
Kalinda's
crisis
stream.
or the
Well,
homelessness crisis to
I just
become
decided
kind of
to
abstract and to
stream
lose
today
touch
just
with just
because
the acute
I
human toll
gotta
of this growing
keep it
catastrophe
out
in
here for you
America.
guys.
You know, what homelessness looks like today isn't just the person sleeping outside the parking lot of a convenience store or a Walmart or a Target. It's often the very cashier or worker stocking the shelves in those stores. And
Oh, geez, look at this. Bringing 12 to 15 million foreigners, many homeless, didn't help end homelessness. It overwhelmed our social services and shelters. So for number one, he did not let 12 to 15 million people in. That is not a number that is real. He let about 4 million people in from the numbers that I saw. But we needed it. We needed this mass. Our our job numbers were down, and we needed this wave of immigration. Fake birth certificate, pedo island visits, human child trafficking, Muslim Brotherhood, none of which are actual things that are treasonous, by the way. He never had a fake birth certificate. All disproven. You're delusional. I think you're delusional.
they often have children
Yes,
at
we're
the
getting
end of
them
their shifts.
finally.
They don't know where they're going to be going. They have to tell their children, I don't know where we're staying tonight. Maybe they're sleeping in a car in that very parking lot. And, you know, there's a term that public health experts use to refer to the kind of stress that children and parents are exposed to in these circumstances. And that term is toxic stress. This is stress that is so chronic, so debilitating, that it can fundamentally alter a child's long-term development. That is the human toll
Geez,
of this insecurity. And it is the consequence. It's the toll of what has happened when millions, not hundreds of thousands, but millions of families in this country have been flung into what a case manager in my book refers to as the housing Hunger Games.
You've cited a number of deficiencies across all.
Okay, hold on. Tamika May, you literally just said 12 to 15 million foreigners, and now you're backing up with 2 to 3 million illegal entries. What is it? Which one is it? You gotta make your fucking decisions, man. Or ma'am. You can't just flip-flop like that, like a fish. Circumventing the wall of citizens via rigged elections is treason. He never had any rigged elections. I don't even know what you're referring to there. Especially when you're not a citizen. He is a citizen. Same can be said about Prescott Bush family Germans. Plus unknown getaways. You think there were 10 million unknown getaways? You must really think ICE is full of a bunch of idiots if you think that was the case. By the way, look at this guy. He's eating a castle. That's interesting, isn't it?
All sorts of.
That is interesting. You must think ICE was full of a bunch of just nincompoops wandering around, having people spawn out of themselves to get those kind of numbers.
Categories that are failing people, but what institutions here need to change? Is this a failure of government, of industry, all of the above? How do you see it?
Yeah, I think it is all of the above. What I found in my reporting in the course of
We're just going by your numbers, not looking anything up. It doesn't even support what you were saying, Tamika. Just admit you were wrong and drop it. You know what I mean? There's nothing with admitting you were wrong. Angela Merkel is Obama's aunt. I like this DC universe you're creating. I think it sounds really cool. You might sell a couple comic books. Now, in reality, that's just not true. But, that's all right. That's all right. the worst border crisis in U.S. history. Well, I think that we had a need for these people and letting all these people in. Our unemployment numbers were at a record low. You expect small businesses to suffer from American success? You're crazy. But I will have you know, Tamika, that the border crisis, the quote unquote border crisis, was ended by the time Biden got out of office. He had, at a max, 300,000 border encounters a month, right? 300,000. At the end of his term, he had 60,000 border encounters a month. Trump only brought it down by a meager 50,000. And now, obviously, the border's closed. But do you understand math? They knew of 8 to 12. Okay, now you're switching it up. 2 to 3 million known entries, and now they know about, like, what are you talking about? You're switching up the numbers. You're switching up the numbers here. Uranium scandal, bud. Treason. These are long before I was born, so you're gonna have to bring me up to date with what the Uranium One scandal is. Oh, now it's annually. Well, that would help out your case if it was true, but it's just not, unfortunately. But if it were true, that would help out your case.
Of immersing myself in the day-to-day
2 to
lives
3
of
million
5 families
annually.
here in Atlanta.
We would literally be a mostly Latin American country by the end of Joe Biden's presidency. And last time I checked, 1 in 2 Americans were not Mexican. You're demanding examples and now place. I just don't know about that one. What are you talking about? Your other examples I dismissed. So Biden's numbers aren't true? Well, we're just trusting that you're giving a accurate representation of what Biden's numbers are. I'm playing Wizards 101. I do not. That's not what I'm doing. What are you talking about? Hold on, let me go up to your earlier chats. Rigged elections. There were no rigged elections. Like, I've been dissuading destroying your other arguments pretty handily. I just don't know about the uranium fucking one scandal. But your other arguments are pretty weak and pathetic, so I could probably destroy that one too if you wanted to.
Atlanta, where I live, over a period of nearly 6 years, it's not just the housing system, which, prioritizes profits above all else. It's not just work and jobs and wages that aren't keeping up with the cost of living. It's also other systems like healthcare, a lack of affordable childcare, the education system, food insecurity.
And here we go, MAGA, always trying to talk about the others rather than talk about the real issues. This became a border debate and a debate about Obama rather than what actually fucking matters, like the people on our streets. But that's okay. I know it's a common tactic, and I appreciate the engagement. I do.
All of these systems sort of collide to make this human...
No, the American people decide what real issues are, and number 1 on the American people's voting registry is affordability. So that's why we're talking about affordability right now. Millions of immigrants. Oh God. Clutch your pearls at the millions of immigrants coming in. Oh geez.
Disaster, not just possible, but in many ways predictable and inevitable.
Brian Goldstone, author of There Is No Place for Us. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
There's an audio hum when I speak today. Let me do some treble testing. Sorry, guys. This is just going to do some quick... there should be a filter on it because I do have a how many Americans didn't vote? Do you have those numbers to assert proof? How many? That is like a crazy conspiracy, buddy. I don't see anybody saying that the elections were not valid. Okay, you complained about homelessness. Biden's illegals added millions of homeless. Don't complain about it. You bring up the topic. No, I'm talking about the American homelessness. And I don't think that's true that we added millions in homeless. I just don't think that's true. Weren't we housing them? Aren't you the guys that say we're housing them? So which one is it? Are we housing them or are they homeless? And if they are homeless, do we just not care about them? How cruel that you don't care about homeless people on the streets. That's evil. But one moment, guys. I gotta check my CPU usage. They allow 6% fraud. Fraud! That was a soy out on massive levels. Democrats focused on illegal homeless instead of our homeless. We ran out of housing and they ended up homeless. Well, number one, I would like to point out that, hold on. I'm sorry, guys. I'm doing two things at once. I'm trying to... Is the hum still there, Bill? Because if it is, then I will... It's still there. Well, that is very frustrating. I'm gonna unplug my mic, so one moment, gang. All right, has it gotten any better? It may have gotten worse. Oh, that's great. I love to hear that. Here, I'm gonna turn on my, oh, my phone's done. Very frustrating. Well, we may have to end stream early then, because I don't know how I'm supposed to fix that without, ending the stream. Oh, okay. It's, it may be better now. That's good. That's good. Sorry about the delay, gamers. I know it's very... It did get better? Okay. I think it's an issue with my connections. They, unfortunately... My mic can become disconnected. Anyways...
And finally tonight,
all right, we don't care about the Lighthouse Keepers. No offense, though. I'm sure they are amazing women. Shout out. But we have some right-wing media to get into. So, Trump is the GOAT, says ManBX8WL. That's a real account. But I actually wanted to go here. The left doesn't want you to see this. Jay Sizzle, President Trump, please come save Minneapolis. I am not President Donald Trump. I just want to make that apparent. But I don't think your calls to Trump will be heard here. But keep engaging my chat. I appreciate it.
Apocalypse. America's a terrible place. It's a completely depressing ideology.
Look, this guy fucking hates America.
What do you think
this
has
guy hates
happened
America.
that's
Watch.
led to this?
2012 is the year that, Zach Goldberg, when he was a graduate student, did this analysis of the increased use of terms like racism, white supremacy, and they just skyrocket in terms of their use in the
it's almost like we started reckoning with our past. Are you stupid?
news media after 2012. I mean, I think that the 12 years from 2012 to 2024 called the woke reign of
Yeah, save Minneapolis from having the lowest crime rate of a major city, please.
terror. 79% of Americans are against males in female sports. 71% are against transgender medicine.
Need to purge of the Muslim invasion, says Josh Otter 7893. I don't think you need to. I am so happy to have more diversity in America. Why aren't you guys excited for more diversity?
Medicine. You may have seen Malcolm Gladwell recently came out. He was too scared to say that he thought that men should not be able to play in female sports.
Learn to communicate. I'm sorry, but I think you're the one with communication problems if you're typing communicate.
On one hand, it's completely shocking. On another, for me, it's shocking, but it's not totally surprising. Michael, welcome back to Real Talk with Zuby. How you doing?
Great to be with you, Zuby. Great to see you again.
Awesome. How are you doing?
Really well. Personally well, worried about how things are right now. So much is going on and it's hard to even report on all the different events, and I'm concerned about our country and concerned about the world, but personally well.
Yeah. So as we record this,
Well, I mean, the people of Minneapolis seem to disagree.
we are just a couple days after the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Oh God, the number one moment in their life where they can clutch their pearls so hard. Oh God, Charlie! Oh dear Lord! Meanwhile, Melissa Hortman and all the other Democratic people who just get mass gunned down, they get joked about on the right.
So I definitely want to talk about that. By the time this episode comes out, I'm sure there are going to be new updates.
Charlie.
So I don't want it to become outdated. But what was your reaction? Where were you when you heard the news, and what was your immediate reaction?
Horror and, deep sadness. I have two kids and, it's hard to even
I have two kids, and Charlie had two kids, so that's why I bring this up.
think about it, like those videos of him talking about his kids, obviously had a big
It's
impact
a weird relation to have.
on me. I had a similar experience, I think, as others, which is becoming almost like obsessed.
Yeah, I know. They think Walls is a mayor. That's very funny as well.
Aggressive on social media, like not
You minimize killing dads. Tanky or Tamika, you realize that Charlie Kirk's family wasn't there, right? You realize that. That was fake news. You fell for some fake news, and that's all right. I can see you have that big city educations. I actually come from Hutchinson, Kansas, so I'm not from the big city, my friend. I am not from the big city.
being able to pull away from it. The assassination itself, I mean, you realize like everybody's got their phone out, and so you
Well, you just said
quickly see this assassination. It was hard to avoid it on
Yeah.
X. I was able to avoid the killing of the Ukrainian refugee. I was able to like not watch that and didn't want to see it. But this one, it was just right there, so it was quite shocking to see it, and then to go on and see the
Your Reddit thread isn't reliable info. His family was in Arizona, you dumb fuck. We're not in Kansas anymore. Amen. Amen. We're on the wide web, ladies and gentlemen.
reaction to it, particularly from people on the left. That was kind of a secondary shock to see the joy that people have.
I never saw any joy. I don't know who you guys saw. Maybe you guys can inform me. Who was celebrating Charlie Kirk's death? Can you name one major content creator? Remember when Joe couldn't walk up?
Had in celebrating.
Remember when Donald Trump fucking looks like Emperor Palpatine? Hassan was not celebrating. He condemned it.
In the death of somebody, it made me feel like the culture has made people more.
But let me make it clear. I do not like Hassan. Hassan fucking sucks, ladies and gentlemen. Hassan is a loser and does not represent the liberal ideology.
More, psychopathic, more psychopathological, more lacking empathy, which is something that we've seen in the society. I think is particularly related to social media. One of the characteristics of so-called cluster B personality disorders are people that have excess empathy for people in their in-group and then lack of empathy for people on their out-group, which I think explains a lot of what I've documented over the years, which is sort of an unhelpful level or pathological levels of supposed compassion or empathy, which I think is actually fake empathy.
Oh yeah, it's just fake. I don't care about any of these people. I don't care about any of it. It's just fake.
Just total cruelty and lack of empathy coming from people that I don't think in normal life or normal circumstances would be so lacking in those emotions. So yeah, still shocking experience and still trying to make sense of it.
Yeah. What do you think has happened that's led to this? Because on one hand, it's completely shocking. On another, for me, it's shocking, but it's not totally surprising to me in a way.
By the way, guys, thank you so much for typing in the chat. Even if it's a bunch of hate for me being a lib, I still appreciate it. I really do. It increases my engagement and gets my lib message out there. So even all the Republicans typing in chat, saying how much they hate Joe Biden and how wrong I am, you guys still help me, and I appreciate that.
Given the way things have been going over the past decade in particular, and the way the temperature has just been rising and the polarization and the rhetoric.
And you can complain about all you want about Joe Biden, but presidential historians rate him number 14 on the most impactful presidents. Donald Trump, they rate very low in terms of good economic impact. We can talk all day about clips and stuff, but if we go facts for facts, Joe Biden did way more.
In the same way that when there was
Wine 11, my brother, it's Wine 11. I like that one. I think I'm gonna use that next time Republicans are like, remember 9/11. I'm gonna call it Wine 11.
The assassination attempt on Trump last year, it was definitely
liberal fake news historians. Yeah. What's up, Dylan? Good to see you in the chat.
Definitely shocking, but also it's not completely out of the blue, given things that people have been saying and the level of media hype and just the level of
Don't worry, they're just Confederate Retrumplicans. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. At least they're contributing to the chat.
It's not a huge logical jump that type of thing would be possible. So what do you think has happened in American culture, in society, in the political climate just over the years?
Well, I'd say it's a lot of it comes from Donald Trump's rhetoric. That's where a lot of this comes from. If Donald Trump wasn't in office, if we had someone like a Nikki Haley in office, I wouldn't be nearly as upset. I wouldn't be shouting from the rooftops,
That makes something like this even possible.
I think we're definitely at a hinge point. You sometimes look back at these moments like 1968 or 1776 and you go, did they know what they were living through at the time?
Okay, and Tamika, I just want you to remember Joe Biden, Donald Trump's own son tweeted out a Halloween costume of a picture of tidy whities with a hammer celebrating Paul Pelosi's attack. So how do you feel about that? You should be equally as disgusted by Donald Trump Jr. as you are about those random fucking leftists that celebrated it. You should be just as pissed off. Are you? Something tells me you're not.
Would they only get that perspective later? Certainly, the later perspective, you could see that it was a completely revolutionary moment. I definitely think that we're living in through that now. It's been 80 years since World War II.
They're
80
still
years
whining
before
about
1945.
math teachers making an obvious problem-solved pun as somehow about Charlie. Well, yeah, they always grasp at straws. That is a very fun tactic of the right.
Was the American Civil War. 80 years before that was 1776. I mean, it's an incredible, these cycles appear to be real.
Damn, see, Jay Sizzle, Joe Biden must live thought 3 in your fucking head, ladies and gentlemen. This man has just wrote an entire novel about Joe Biden. Honestly, you could probably submit it to him. He might respond.
So I think we're in between two eras. One was a kind of open society, post-war globalist era.
Because they're not important to what I'm talking about right now, Jay Sizzle. I'm sorry. I'll have a debate. We can have a debate. Go into my Discord and next this Monday we can have a debate.
Period of nationalism, a return of the strong gods, to borrow the phrase of R.R. Reno,
Yeah,
a kind
no
of return of.
Well, then I'm not gonna acknowledge your points because I'm gonna be honest. I kind of want to focus on what I decided to stream about.
Much more basic impulses, family, faith, flag for the right. Obviously, the right becoming, conservatives, the new right becoming incredibly powerful, arguably
Democrat
hegemonic
doctors say men can give birth. Please show me where that is true. Please show me an example of a doctor saying men can give birth. I would love to see that.
Sure. I think the social media has had this impact of dulling emotion, dulling senses. I think the impact is most strongly viewed on Gen Z and multiple, maybe contradictory or at least different things happening. I mean, on the one hand, I think there's been a healthy return and embrace of masculinity by Gen Z, an absolute rejection, particularly by Gen Z men, of the anti-male, anti-masculine, the framing of masculinity as toxic. I think you see young men rejecting that. You see young men moving towards the right. In some cases,
trans men give birth all the time. Well, those are women, Bill. Oh, geez. That means chicks with dicks. Why are you guys so focused on that? It's like you guys know you're winning or you're losing the economic war. You know you're losing the policy war. So now you're so desperate to drum up the old culture war that you guys think oh my god, yeah, Yan Bean, that was pretty killer. Tamika, your husband is on Grindr. That one's fun. But you guys know you're losing politically. So you're trying to drum up old culture war stuff that just doesn't stick with the average American because the average American is focused on affordability. And you guys don't have any solve for that.
Towards people that I think are nefarious characters
But
like
that's
Andrew
all right.
Tate. And I think in other cases towards more positive example or role models like you, like Jordan Peterson, like, Chris Williamson, like various
Yeah, and
folks that I
you're-
think are
you're
displaying
funny. I
a
like
kind of
you. You're
masculinity
funny.
and a physicality even that I think is very healthy. We see some amount of evidence that, single white progressive women are the least happy members of society, that suffer the highest levels of anxiety and depression. A lot of that can be attributed to social media, but not all of it. I mean, I think we should just keep in mind that
No, I think all of this mental health related stuff, a lot of it is contributed to social media, and we need mental health guardrails. Vance Trump 2028. That's interesting. If you think Vance has the steam, has the absolute fire to reawake the MAGA crowd, I have very bad news for you. That man is uncharismatic as hell.
Things that we've been teaching kids, things that my kids learned here in the Berkeley Public Schools, is that America is uniquely evil, Western civilization uniquely oppressive, that it's just characterized by genocide and slavery and oppression. There's nothing particularly redeeming about it. We need to get rid of it. And so we've seen a ideology emerge as the mainstream.
Thank you. I agree. I will be the next president. Thank you, J Sizzle 45. I can count your vote as part of them. Thank you.
Ideology of most colleges and universities, and arguably also many K-12.
And unlike Vance, I will not be running with a couch. I will have a real human being. I do not have a romantic relationship with a couch, so luckily I am not tied by those bounds. I will have a real running mate.
That basically says that, you know, people are evil, they're creating the apocalypse. America's a terrible place. It's a completely depressing
That's
ideology.
not what I believe at all. I do not believe America is a horrible place full of evil people. I love America. I think everybody in America is amazing, and I want to see them do great. I even want the people in my chat that aren't Russian bots. There are a couple in there. But I want them to do well. I want them to have great and fulfilling lives. So this is totally just not true. I don't hate America at all. Most the liberals I know don't hate America. Even some of the leftists don't hate America. They hate the direction that we're going. And I'll agree, I hate the direction we're going, but I don't think it's unsavable. Justice for the Russian bots.
The radicalization of a young man who appeared to have a normal, happy, healthy childhood, the alleged or suspected assassin of Charlie Kirk, yeah, like you said, not surprising, still shocking that this deeply radical, anti-human, I think it's like
it feels Russian free today. Well, hopefully.
In so many aspects has just taken hold, took hold at the mainstream of society. I mean, I was on the radical left as a young man, and the mainstream Democrats were still liberal.
Well, did you know that you can take two sperms and have them create a human? Did you know that, Tamika? Did you know that that's possible with science? Yeah, we live in the future, ladies and gentlemen. It is not the past anymore.
But the Democratic Party has become a radical left. It's a radicalized party. And
I like to whenever I talk about Charlie would love what I'm doing. He's looking up at me and he's saying, this guy knows what he's talking about. This guy he is engaging in free debate.
I think that clearly comes out of part of its transition also away from any working class, sort of culture to one that's really been a college educated culture where you've had this particularly insidious dogma become hegemonic.
Thanks for watching this video. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more full real-time.
All right, one moment. 2 males make a baby with sperm. Let me just make sure that I wasn't doing fake news. Dish from stem cells. They fertilize these eggs from male mice with... Oh, okay. So we're not quite there yet. We're not quite there yet. I guess I misread the article, but we're getting close. 2 biological females can make a child. I know that. So... Oh, weird. A liberal spouting off. Oh, yeah. Trump has never done that.
Talk with Zuby podcast.
Hey, I can admit when I'm wrong, though, ladies and gentlemen. You will not find that trait amongst the Republicans and right wing. They will not admit when they are wrong. But I was wrong there. You cannot, as of right now, take two sperms and combine them into a petri dish and make a child. You can do it with eggs, but you cannot do it with sperm.
And clips. Thank you. I'm curious, as someone who grew up in the U.S., so I don't live in the USA. I'm not American, and I didn't grow up in the U.S.
Oh, it's not Inhuman? Okay. Interesting. Well, Tamika, I think somebody hiding their sexuality and then railing against the sexuality of another person, I think that might be an issue.
And I'm also just aware as a function of my own age, you naturally tend to care more about what is going on culturally, politically. You become a bit wise. So I often ask myself the question of, how much is new and different?
That's not all
versus...
they're railing. Hey, Bill, dap me up with that one, dude. Fuck yeah. That one was good. That one was good.
How much are we just seeing and being exposed to? So when we are seeing this incident take place and you're seeing the reaction and responses to it, majority of which are compassionate
whoa,
and
Yan
reason-
Beans. I think we got them. We got them. I think we got them, ladies and gentlemen. Slow it down on the... Just because I don't, I like to keep it... It's a war zone, but it's a war zone of honorable men and women and everything in between. Trump was the first pro-gay marriage president. Oh yeah, that's just not true. Your sperm butt babies aren't real? Aw, well that's just a disgusting... That's really gross, Tamika. Why are you thinking about that kind of stuff?
Reasonable and human, but a non-insignificant...
Dude, Joe Biden didn't vanish. What are you talking about? Joe Biden just beat cancer's ass. Something Trump could never do in his dreams.
Minority are extremely callous and downright evil, I would say.
My brother in Christ, I'm part of the gays. So if I think they're gross, then I guess I'd be calling myself gross.
And I wonder, was it always like this? And we just didn't have the visibility. Now that everyone has a voice, everyone has a platform, you can see billions of people's opinions, reactions from all over the world. So is it just that we're seeing it? Or has something sort of fundamentally changed? Because if I think back to, I do remember being in the US in 2008 in the run up to the Obama-McCain election. And I remember it being, people were excited and there were debates and things like that, but it didn't seem that heated. It didn't seem so aggressive. It didn't seem like
I really do think the reason it's so hot right now is because Donald Trump. He's the one turning the temperature up. He's the one not acting presidential. A lot of the people in my chat will be like, well, tell me about a time something that you think Donald Trump has done well. And I say the meeting with Mamdani was him acting presidential. That was when he decided to actually act like a president and invite or have somebody he totally disagreed with, but at the end of the day, they came together as leaders that wanted to see the betterment of their people. I never see that from Donald Trump. That's why I rail so hard against him. He's not a good president, folks. He does not make me feel like part of the American fabric, which is bullshit. I think everybody in this nation deserves to feel part of this American fabric. And trust me, I'm not turning. I think Donald Trump is the epitome of fascism. He is the definition of an American fascist. He is literally the walking image of what American fascism is. If only he was the sexiest man alive, you know what I mean? But instead, he's got the fupa pouring out.
We're slandering each
That's
other,
okay.
or
We all
any
have a
side
little
was
fupa.
accusing the other of being just outright evil or an existential threat or anything like that. I think that I could say the same for 2012. And then 2016, the temperature really started to go up. Some people will blame, lots of people on the left would blame that on Trump. Lots of people on the right would, blame that on the crazy lefties and the media. So
See, we can point to a single thing. We can point to one single thing that is turning up the temperature. They have to, constantly point, it's this, no, it's this, it's this, it's this.
what's your take as someone who has lived here, who's from here over the course of the decades? How much do you think it's actually changed?
Tamika, I said I was wrong about that already. You don't have to keep going on it. But I mean, that's interesting. That's interesting as fuck. Don't you think that's some cool science?
Great question. It's a question we've been asking ourselves, and also what time period. I mean, I think that your history is basically right. I agree with that. I mean, 2008, you remember John McCain is campaigning, and a woman in the audience says that Barack Obama's a Muslim. John McCain says, no, ma'am, he's not. There was a sense of civility on both sides. 2012 is the year that, Zach Goldberg, when he was a graduate student, did this analysis of the increased use of terms like racism, white supremacy. I can't remember all of them, but just the typical kind of woke terms. And they just skyrocket in terms of their use in the news media after 2012. That's also the year that Black Lives Matter was founded. So just
maybe there was a
race
huge right-wing white
issue, that was obviously
supremacist wing that was popping up, and people wanted to talk about it. I don't think this is at all like shocking or anything.
massive year. I mean, I think that the 12 years from 2012 to 2024, call it the woke reign of terror, that was the most extreme.
Minneapolis is only 6% Somali, not 6% of Minnesota as a whole. Florida has more Somalis, but they act like Minnesota is 40% Somali or something. That is interesting.
Manifestation of it. What can we say about that period? Obviously, that was the period when.
And Jay Sizzle, you are never going to change my mind on Joe Biden being a great president. I'm just going to say that right now. I think he was an amazing president. And I think history will agree with us.
Social media is really taking off. I think
here's one for you, Jay Sizzle. Remember when Joe Biden lifted half of American children out of poverty? Do you remember that?
Facebook and Twitter were,
with the
were
American
around
Rescue
2004,
Plan?
2005, but you get to 2012. The youngest.
Do you remember when Joe Biden brought down the inflation from a whopping 9% back down to what it is today? Do you remember that?
Millennials at that point are about 30, 31. If you start millennials from 81 until 95, that generation, millennials come online.
Something tells me
they're
you don't.
very empowered. They're very confident. They're huge numbers. They start to take to social media and using it very aggressively, start to see the rise of cancel culture. Now, I will say I worked on climate change issues, and on the climate issue, climate activists were radicalized earlier than that. So I think that we sort of see it with race, which was a particularly big issue after 2012, and then I think trans kind of shortly after that. But that does appear to be a key moment. I mean, I was very politically correct in college. I graduated.
Yeah, I'll take, that's a good, but remember when he fell from a bike? That's a good point. I'll take my president falling off of a bike if it means that half of American children can be lifted out of poverty. I'll take that. You know what I mean? I'd rather have that than go into unjust war with Venezuela, which we're about to do. But I'm not gonna lie, this guy is kind of boring the fuck out of me. So we could probably go to something else here. He's just kind of boring. He's not really saying much, but we
Graduated in
could keep going.
1993. Political correctness was like a thing, and there was it was like a kind of a miniature version of the woke debates
Charlie.
that we've had over the last few years.
There
in the
we
late
go, Jay Sizzle. Charlie.
80s, early 1990s. And then it kind of went away because there was a backlash against it. But I think a lot of that period were Gen
Police and
Xers like
Charlie being
myself,
racist.
also baby boomers,
I would rather not.
getting jobs in the universities.
He has
and then
unfortunately
one of the things I was
passed
pointing out
away,
to me
and
about
I'm not
Christina Hoff
gonna-
Sommers, who was a former academic herself.
Joe's not treating his
that
cancer.
whereas-
He's waiting to pass. Tamika, do you not realize Joe Biden beat the shit out of his cancer? He rang the bell. Did you not see that headline? Joe Biden's cancer free. He probably, anyways.
As like liberal professors, or liberal when they were deans, when they were making hiring decisions, they would hire a mix. They would hire liberals, conservative, Marxists. But when the radical left professors got in positions to make hiring decisions, they would only hire other radical left professors.
And now Donald Trump is pressuring people to only hire right-wing politicians. That's interesting.
So I think over time there was a filtering mechanism where the universities and colleges became much more radicalized because the radical left had really since World War II, but multiple generations had basically filtered into. So you really just had this radicalization of colleges and universities over time. I would say that was a huge factor.
That's just not. College and universities have always been a place of differing thoughts and diverse opinions. They've always been a place where there are these quote unquote radical ideas, but there's also but from that comes people who have differing worldviews, and we appreciate that here in America. We're not all one monolith here.
Millennials, getting on social media, because Black Lives Matter, of course, it doesn't come at a moment of an increase of police killings of Black people. I mean, we did the
It did. By the way, something I want to make apparent is that this channel is rather pro police. Believe it or not, I know hard for the writers to believe, but I think a lot of the police departments have learned from Black Lives Matter and have made meaningful adjustments. I talked to my local precinct, and they're a small town, Black Lives Matter protests never happened here, but even they talk about how they have different procedures and stuff because of what happened, and they don't talk about it as if it's like horrible. They talk about it as if it was a change that needed to happen. They're not nearly as adverse to the idea of change as a lot of my leftists believed at the time. A lot of them have changed their precautions and feel like they're a lot better for it. So you're not going to find me being anti-police here. I'm very pro police. I'm not pro militarization of the police. You know what I mean? I don't think we need to give them armored personnel carriers, but I think they provide a super valuable service, just like I think firefighters and nurses do.
We're going back and looking at all the FBI data starting in the 70s, and police killings of everybody had gone down since the 1970s. I mean, homicides had gone down since the 70s. So there was no increase of Black men being killed by police that could explain Black Lives Matter. But what could explain it was, I think, social media, a generation of radicalized millennials getting online. And I think that confluence of events.
And this is just doing such a disservice, because now it's saying all the changes that the police made, all the changes that they made are totally invalid. That's what he's saying. He's saying they didn't need these changes, even though the police themselves say they appreciate the changes that have happened.
Probably helps explain what happened.
Yeah.
I wish America had local policing, not like the UK, not police who have no relationships with who they... Well, so I've noticed in bigger cities that is an issue. But in places where I'm from, like Kansas, Nebraska, the police are a lot more close to the community, Bill. I've noticed that. So there are local... It just depends on where you're at in America. But I agree. I think we need I think reach out programs really do help. I remember back in the day, I was playing basketball with some friends, and we were pretty young, probably about 16. And I remember a police officer came by and said, "What's up?" and played some basketball with us. Now, that's just a small example, but that put in my mind that, oh, not all police are super horrible. And I think we need we need programs that do stuff like that. And I don't know why the right would oppose programs like that, because I think they help. I think they really do.
It's fascinating because we're now living in an age with the interconnectivity and smartphones and social media where things feel and have felt for many, many years as if they're getting worse, even though objectively, by many measures, things are getting better. So, to
Mhm.
take an obvious example, crime
Well,
in virtually every major city in the US and I think even in the UK too, crime rates were much higher in the 90s.
Mhm.
yeah, crime is going down, ladies and gentlemen. It's all just a mirage that you see a bunch of crime. It's really not happening. And something else that I noticed is psyops are much more prevalent online nowadays. Um, I want to bring up an example, not really related to crime, but more related to anti-Semitism that's been happening. I was on Instagram the other day and I saw this skit. It was a skit, it wasn't real. I looked into it, where two Hasidic Jews apparently robbed a black person, and it was all caught on cam. When you go into it, you look into the account. That man is it's a skit channel, and essentially he was just faking this crime. This crime had never happened. And it looks like he was just trying to ferment anti-Semitism. So there are psyops on your social media feed that you need to be aware of. You know, the crime isn't nearly as bad as what it may seem like.
But if you were to ask people, does it feel more dangerous now versus when you were growing up, or when you were a child or a young man in the 90s or whatever? Most people would say, yeah, it feels way more dangerous now. It doesn't matter if they live in
Surprised it was a
LA
skit and
or
not just AI. Yeah, AI's been getting really bad with it too. AI is scary. I have my own little AI that I am working on.
London or Paris or New York, wherever. It seems like things are way more dangerous, even though you may look at
And I
stats and that's
recommend
not the
doing
case.
that now. Sorry, not really related to what I'm talking about, but if you guys have a computer that can handle it, please download an AI and start messing with it. Not messing with it. That makes it sound like you want to just start playing with it, because that's the next wave, you know what I mean? And it's going to be very advantageous to have that knowledge about how AI works, if because soon it is going to be harder to download these large language models, because they're very, very effective at what they do.
If you talk to certain people who are especially more liberal or progressive and you say, does it seem like there's a massive rise and spike in racism or in police brutality or in all these other things,
Oh,
they'll
Jesus,
say,
here we
yes,
go.
absolutely.
Trump isn't hurting the country. If people don't like what's going on, they can simply vote for someone in doing something, but it's only 4 years. Even Biden couldn't destroy this country in 4 years. Well, interestingly enough, Mike, do you realize that more people voted for someone other than Trump than voted for Trump? So a large percentage of the country doesn't like Donald Trump.
Absolutely. And they can point you to videos and to
And it's
names.
only 4 years. Look what he's done in a year. He's destroying our judicial system, making it totally irrelevant. He is circumventing court orders. What are you talking about?
Into situations that have happened. But
Luckily,
if you were
he's
to
too
actually look at
stupid
the
to
data,
become dictator.
it
But
doesn't
if he wasn't,
really bear it out. So we're
we'd
living
be
in
in
this
real
strange
trouble.
time where I think a huge factor is just that we see so much. Not just that we hear about it, but we see it. Because it's not just that we have smartphones and social media, but everyone has cameras all the time. So what we were talking about earlier, like you see it. It's not just that you hear the news.
Here we go.
It's
whatever happened to the saying, what you see isn't always true. What you see on the internet isn't always true. Whatever happened to that? It's like people have totally forgot about that saying.
like you see it with your own eyes,
back.
even if
Oh,
you're not
no, they
searching
kicked
for
me
it.
out.
If you're just connected to certain people.
No, they're trying to silence liberal voices on Wizards 101. How dare they? They're trying to silence my liberal voice.
And something starts trending and a new thing happens, it could even be across the world. It doesn't even have to be within your.
All right, Zuby, you're just boring the shit out of me. All right, this lady shit her pants apparently, and now she's famous. So let's give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Changed my mind.
Yeah. So
I hate it so much because I'm leftist. I'm a communist.
Yeah. Well,
Changed my mind.
Yeah. Well, that's what my sign is. Well, thank you for proving my point, though.
Yeah, I know.
What do you think of President Trump?
I think he's doing a great job.
What?
But anyway.
How did that make sense?
I gotta go. Gotta go.
Okay.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
He's letting Ukraine die. He's the biggest flaming liar you've ever had.
What should we do about the people in the country
Your
illegally?
mind changed because you like the feeling of being correct.
They came up to us like, I don't care.
Then walk away.
Okay, no. I can do what I want. Thank you.
The left is telling me to stop doing this, to leave, and then they
have
crash out.
Folks, you're not going to believe in me, but Wizards 101 just locked me out of my account. They just locked me. They're silencing liberal voices, ladies and gentlemen. All right, well, I don't have time to log into my my whole account here, so I guess they've silenced a liberal voice. They've done it again. They've silenced a liberal voice. Oh well. We'll just boot up some fucking Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess. How dare they? How dare they? I can't believe it.
Out because I have a different opinion than them. If you love this country, you would love the most basic, important right we have, which is free speech and dialogue.
Come on, honey, get real.
Oh, yay. She posted her L's to Maine. That's exciting.
We are here in DeLand, Florida, doing a little First Amendment auditing at an art festival. You guys know what type of people go to the art festival, so we chose here. And I have a sign with me today. The left
We know what
hates
type
America.
of people. We know those icky people that go to art museums. Ew. They appreciate aesthetics. Disgusting.
Change my mind. Let's see if anybody can get through to me, and maybe I'll think otherwise. Let's see.
Maybe you won't shit your pants. Maybe. We can only hope. By the way,
Do you like
this
my art
fucking
today at the art
copyright-free music.
festival?
I love it.
Oh, okay. All right. So you wouldn't change my mind.
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Where do you see that the opposite, that the left might love America? You?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what?
Well, I was.
God, no, she's posting her L's to Maine, ladies and gentlemen. He's like, so what a freak, by the way, going to an art festival. This isn't anything remotely political, but she decides to show up with her sign. Anyways, what a freak.
I was asking where you see that the left with their policies and their rhetoric might love America, because when I talk to people on the left every week, and I've noticed that there's a lot of undermining of the traditional values that our country was built on, the rule of law.
Traditional values. What traditional values are these, by the way? I always wonder, what are these traditional values they talk about?
Or national security. What?
You sound like Trump.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that compliment. I appreciate that. Okay. Well, all right. I guess that was that. My mind was not changed. Do you like my art?
My mind was not changed, even though I'm the one asking for them to change my mind.
No? Could you change my mind?
Wearing an 8647 hat.
I know. That just kind of proves my point, though, right? 8647, which is kind of a violent call.
The left hates America. I think that's backwards.
Okay. Why so?
Well, the left is all about love.
Really?
That's in my heart, and that's what most of the people that I know, who I hang out with and who go to my church, are all about being loving, not hating, not trying to take away other people's rights.
Okay.
We're trying to have a good, happy place on
Okay.
this planet.
Because when I go to protests every week, I talk to leftists, hundreds of them every
Straw
month.
man alert.
And it
Straw
all kind of
man
seems
alert.
the same rhetoric and the same policy positions where they want to dismantle police
That's not
departments.
true at all. Like I just said, I don't want to dismantle police.
Hold on, I'm not done.
Okay.
They want to abolish ICE. They have tons of signs about abolishing ICE, which
Life is
keeps.
a little scary.
Well, they keep our country safe.
Well,
they
depends
don't.
on your perspective of who they're keeping it safe from. I mean, yes, criminals, I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
But when you're chasing down family members who've been here for years that are helping us harvest our crops and do things that most Americans don't want to do,
Yeah.
it's going to catch up with us. Our prices are going to go up. We're not going to
And we're seeing that. This man's smart. We're seeing the prices go up every day.
have the people, the labor. Yeah, I mean, it seems
a bag of candy is $10.
like you're taking
ladies and
advantage
gentlemen.
of
Think
folks like
about
that, but they don't deserve to be treated the way they're being treated by ICE. It's heartless.
Yeah, I think when you come into the country and you break.
Okay, I'm just gonna disregard everything you just said and shoehorn my own ideas.
Laws.
Let's go.
If you
I
get
agree.
rounded up,
I'm
then
breaking
yeah,
along, absolutely.
yeah, breaking laws. You come into the country, you've broken a federal law, and so you deserve. Yeah,
No, it's a civil. Ah, see what they did there? She's lying. It's not a federal law. It's a civil offense.
Here legally, but they're not like residents. But they're here, they work, they pay taxes, and So
So how are they here legally, but they're
Well,
not?
Let me just say,
they're not
that whole
citizens.
thing of them coming here and using all of our services for free is not true.
Okay, can I offer some statistics?
And by the way, inflation has not gone down since Trump came into office. It's went up. Tamika.
Statistics
Good
that
to see
might
you're still here.
change your
though. I
mind on
wish
that?
I just was reading statistics. They pay taxes, billions of dollars in
How much?
taxes.
How many billions of dollars?
I can't specifically answer that. And
It's
you're
about
putting me on the
37.
spot with
It's
a-
about
with a
37
camera.
billion. Do you know how much
They
they
ain't paying taxes.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you know, number one, how do they pay that in taxes?
Through their withholding. They have to pay federal and state taxes just like everybody.
Typically, well, no, because they're not allowed to work here. They're not allowed to have a social security number.
They pay
Dude,
taxes.
She's getting
Yeah,
cooked
through
by this
other-
old man.
Through other people's social security numbers.
I don't know about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's a huge scam that goes on in this country, and that's how they pay into the system.
Well, that's the reason most people are getting rounded up is for overstayed visas, Tamika. That's why they're getting rounded up. It's not for crossing the border illegally. Costs haven't come down, inflation rate is down. That's not true. The inflation rate has ticked up since Donald Trump has become president.
They take other people's social security numbers, identity fraud, identity theft, especially dead people, and that's how they pay into the system.
Oh my God. By the way, disgusting AI art here. Who the fuck uses AI? God, it's so gross.
But,
honey.
but
I mean, that's
do
all
you
I
know?
can say
I don't listen to
because
Fox.
it's
Do you
just-
do
it's
you
a
know how much
very
they cost?
one-sided perspective for
Do
a
you know how
young
much
girl
they
of your
cost?
age.
Okay.
You should be a little more open-hearted, in your life.
Yeah, we've
Not
only spoken for 5
being-
minutes. You don't know that much about me. Do you know how many
You've only spoken for dude, she's getting cooked.
billions
poor
of
girl.
dollars a illegal immigrant community in this
Careful, she might shit her pants.
country cost the taxpayers?
Illegal what? Illegal immigrant immunity.
Yeah.
All right, that's a mouthful.
Okay. Do you know how many billions of dollars the illegal
I
people?
don't keep up with the billions of
yeah,
this country.
it's between 150 billion to 400
Let me ask you
billion.
this: what do you think of President Trump?
Yeah. I think he's doing a great job. But anyway.
now I gotta go. Gotta go.
Okay.
Are you for
Well, he shouldn't have just left. I agree. He should have asked her why. Why does he think he's doing a great job? We're hemorrhaging jobs right now. Inflation is ticking up. I mean, it's not doing well. We're not doing great. So I would have just confronted her on that.
real?
Yeah.
He's letting Ukraine die. He was going to end the war before he was elected president. He was going to end the war in one day. He's the biggest flaming liar you've ever had. If you think the government shutdown was good for this country,
I didn't say
don't
that.
Please try to blame America. I apologize, to blame Republican Democrats. I think you are like so off kilter. You need to go somewhere and start a new country on it.
Sir, respectfully, you didn't even ask me a single question to know. You don't even know.
You didn't even ask me a single question to know. You've just been listening to the conversation.
Who I am.
Just to ask, if you think Donald Trump is a fabulous person,
I didn't say anything about him as a person. I think he's a great president, and I think he loves this country. Yeah.
Then I really have nothing else to say because I think he's the worst president we've ever had.
Why do you feel that way?
Because he tried to steal the 2020 election, tried to steal it, tried to buy votes in Georgia.
Have died,
Yeah.
and he's going to end the war. How many people did he annihilate in Gaza?
Get me 3,000 more seats, ladies and gentlemen. Get me 3,000 more seats.
And we're anti-Semitic because we support Gazans and not Jews. Come on, honey, get real.
Okay, so I would love to have a dialogue with you about that. You don't even know any of my opinion. Why do people do that?
Because you're fucking rude.
He just insinuated and assumed all of my opinions, got mad at me. He rage baited himself because I support Trump. He made up all these things about me and then crashes out and walks away with his boyfriend. Did you know?
You're the one crashing out, sweetheart.
Notice how he kept talking about me watching Fox News. That's what I get out here a lot. I don't just watch Fox News. I go to ground.news/liberty and I get a 40% off code for subscription to actually.
Joking. Of course, Ground News sponsors this woman. Love the fucking grifters that get sponsored by Ground fucking News. Love them.
Read and digest news from all across the aisle, the left, the right, and the center. And with that subscription that I get, you'll see a QR code up on the screen right now. You can go there and see all the tools that I actually use to come out here and know what the left is thinking, what my own side is thinking. I genuinely think that people like him, and broadly the people I talk to all the time, would actually benefit from going to ground.news/liberty and taking part in this amazing app that can tell them all kinds of information from all across the aisle, and we could all be better informed about what news we are actually digesting and reading, and we would know the bias and the spin that they're putting on it, so we can be better informed and maybe not end up so brainwashed. What?
Are you calling yourself art today?
Yeah, this is we're at an art festival, and so this is my art.
And so you're what? Right wing because of the sign, or are you mocking democracy?
How would I be mocking democracy?
I'm just saying, like, are you truly a left and you're just saying, hey, try to change my mind in a...
No, I'm conservative, and I go to protest every week. I talk to people on the other side every week, and I found a common theme every time I talk to somebody.
Yeah, I found a common theme where they just hate America. They just hate America. I definitely do not hate America.
They seem to support policies and they engage in rhetoric that makes me really come to the conclusion that they don't like this country. And anybody who might disagree with me, I'm just opening a dialogue, so maybe I've got the wrong idea this whole time.
Well, I'm not going to engage because we do have a common thread, and that is we both love America, but our ideas are of what America should look like and what the founding fathers wanted for America.
Right. What do you think that was?
Is for every person under the dome of America to have rights.
Yeah.
And that
I agree, Tamika. She is very antagonizing. I don't really like that.
That is not from what I've experienced from the right.
Okay, go more into that.
Well, take Florida, for instance. We're getting a lot of our freedoms just taken away and stripped down from us.
Which freedoms?
Reading, for one.
The freedom to read?
Not the freedom.
Honestly, I would bring up the right to serve for trans people. I think that's something that even conservatives can agree is something we should look at and caution against, because if somebody wants to serve our country, I'm okay with paying a little extra for them. I am. If that means they are serving our country and protecting us, I'm okay with that. You know, I don't care if they cost a little extra. If they want to protect us, then they should have the full right to. Okay, why would I summon that thing in defensive position? That's horrible. But you know, I think anybody who wants to serve in our country should totally be allowed to. Anyways,
Them to read
James
because I
Sprung.
understand
I'll
that you
look
can
that
go
up tomorrow. We might go over it, Tamika.
online and read
You said
books and
James
stuff,
Club?
but
I'm gonna
I'll look
switch
them up.
two sides.
telling us, for instance, what material is appropriate for our families.
Right.
When that should be the decision of the mom and the dad.
Yeah.
Not the school board telling us what we should be
Yeah.
discussing in our own personal homes.
Yeah, so I could definitely defend the law and the rights. What is that? Parental Rights and Education Act by DeSantis. I fully support that. I think that there
I'm
are
sure you
certain.
do.
Well,
Do you have kids?
I have two. Yep, and
She didn't really give a reason on why she supports it. She just said, "I fully support it." It's like, come on, don't you think there's a better reasoning you could bring up? I think the banning of books is just ridiculous. Even if, you know, I was reading books that were very adult for my time, and I didn't think they were nearly as bad. Some of these things that they bring up are just very surface level, like there's a person that's gay in the story. Well, I hope there's more people that are gay in kids' books, so children don't have to feel like like I did when I was growing up, feel like an absolute freak just because I liked men and women. But maybe weapons and combat training isn't good. Well, the reason the high depression and suicide rates for trans individuals is because society, look how society treats them. You know what I mean? Society treats them like they're garbage and stuff. And maybe in weapons and combat training isn't good. I don't know of any trans individuals doing weapons and combat training personally. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but most of the trans people I know are interested in writing books and anime. Interestingly enough, it's the two combos. Writing books and anime seems to be their forte, and I say go for it.
there are books on that list that have just been taken out of the public school system that are extremely pornographic and disgusting.
Do you
and
read those books?
No,
Do you
and I don't think.
in the books that are on the banned list, because several of them that I have personally read.
Yeah.
And we're talking about people on the school board, people who go to the school board meetings,
Yeah.
that deem in their personal, with no children in the school system,
Right.
deem that it's their responsibility to take books that I may deem.
Yeah. So
Perfectly fine.
I love that conversation, but that's actually not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about how I believe the
And also something about these books. Oh, you're referring to service members. My bad. I had unlinked from that topic. So I think that would be a case if it weren't for the fact that most veterans have depression and high suicide rates. You know what I mean? It seems like it's much more of a systemic societal issue rather than it is a inherent issue with them. You know what I mean? And if they don't show any signs of, you know, because if you have depression, I can't join the military, for example, because I have a major depressive disorder, which is unfortunate. And, you know, I did want to serve at one point in my life, but that's okay. But, you know, if they have those types of issues, then of course they can't serve. Of course they can't. But if they pass all the clearings and the only thing stopping in them is just because they're trans, I think that's heartbreaking, because that means somebody who wanted to protect our democracy can't. And for reasons that are wholly out of their control, you know. Gender dysphoria is a real thing, and so I think we need to have a more open heart and open acceptance. And I think that would lead to less suicide rates, less depression. Just like I think we need to help out our veterans and make the society less hostile. They're not hostile towards them. They're just, they don't really care, is how I would say it. Apathetic, less apathetic towards the veteran population.
The left, with their rhetoric and their policies, don't like America. They hate this country. And if you would like, I would love to give you some examples.
But again, I want to reiterate, I fucking love America. This is a constant theme that they say we hate America. I fucking love this nation, guys. I wanted to see it be the best. I want us to get to space. The United fucking Planets of America. You know what I mean? Military causes more depression and PTSD, so it wouldn't be adding to the issue, maybe. I'm sure many would be great soldiers. I'm concerned about those who may have, I'm assuming you meant, increased mental illness. And that's always going to be an issue with anybody, I'd say. Like, especially, you know, you're always going to have that potential of, oh, this person may snap. But I think it would decrease their likelihood to snap if we didn't treat them the way they did, the way we do. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of military members are very upset about that decision, so I don't think it'll last long. And I'd also say that the less experience we have with them being in the military, the less we know how to have them be in our military apparatus, you know? And a lot of service members aren't seeing direct combat. It's much, you know, behind the lines, more R&D stuff that they'd be more involved in, I'm assuming.
Be necessary, because I understand where you're coming from.
Where am I coming from?
That you're trying to get people to change your mind that the left does not love America.
Yeah.
But that is such a broad stroke of you hate this, or because you don't support this, you must hate America.
I seem to get the point from their rhetoric and their policies that they must hate this country. But if I'm wrong, and I've been misled, I would love for someone...
He's just going up to this random art vendor. Hey, so you want to talk about how the left hates America? Sorry, I dropped my headphone. It's a little silly. This poor lady, she's probably like, I just make little trinkets and odds and ends.
To change my mind.
I don't think I have enough time to talk to you about changing your mind.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm in the middle. I'm an independent.
Okay.
And I got a very open mind. I look at both sides. My family is both-sided. I come from a military family.
Nice.
And I love this country.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's got hope. It's going to have peace. And it's going to be okay.
Well, first of all, tell your family I said thank you for their service, first of all. And as someone who's more in the middle and doesn't really dive real strongly to either side, do you have an opinion broadly and generally speaking of who loves America more, the right or the left?
Wow, that's amazing. I don't know.
Don't know?
I know.
I'd say it's the left, ladies and gentlemen. We're the ones fighting for the judicial system, you know? We're the one fighting to keep the judicial system to have power. You know, they don't have an enforcement mechanism. So the only way that the judicial system works is if we believe in it. And Donald Trump doesn't believe in the judicial system. He wants to overstep it. He wants to go around it. But we believe in it. We want the courts to have power. That's why I think it's so important the next president give the judicial system some sort of enforcement mechanism that doesn't go directly through the executive branch, you know? Some sort of, I don't know what it could be. Maybe it's, you know, I know we have, what is it? I know we have marshals, my bad, but they still go through the DOJ. So I think that's an issue that we're really going to have to tackle, hopefully.
Because I've got both sides of my family, and they're both very, very patriotic.
Okay.
I don't know how the general public feels.
Yeah.
But
Just your opinion. Like when you look at the left, you look at the right, you look at the rhetoric
Yeah, we moved on to Miss Poopy
and the
Pants.
policies on both. Just generally speaking, do you lean one way or the other? But I think that side might love America a little bit more.
She's really trying to fish here. Did nobody else come up? I mean, come on. She said she's in the middle.
I think the left.
You think the left loves America more?
The close left.
Okay.
The close.
Okay. Where?
She's a liberal. Look at her. She's libbed up.
What makes you think that?
Because of the way
This is my audience, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. This is most of my audience. Most of my audience is 65 year old or older, and the split is about 30-70, although it's closing. So this is my audience right here. She might be watching this video as we speak. Hello.
my family feels, the way I feel.
Okay.
So, and I think we have to have faith in the young people that are coming up, and they should not be influenced by all kinds of talk.
I think both sides love America. The MAGA group loves America for selfish reasons. I learned the military, I am my brother's keeper, not corporate greed or MAGA. Amen. I think, listen, I do think the Democrats have, they care about democracy more than the Republicans right now. I'll say that. But I do think there's issues. There are issues of corporate greed in America. And I think the only side that's really trying to tackle that is the Democrats. I've seen the bills they try to pass that are like, that don't allow for these funding mechanisms, but they just get squashed by the Republicans because of the filibuster.
Talk and speeches, but those people right next to me are criticizing my choice.
Were they talking about you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well,
So-
hey, you can have your opinion, you can have a dialogue and everything. I will say, and if you don't want to speak to me after this, you don't have to.
Oh, no.
The reason I think about this is because I talk to people on the left every week. It's part of my job. What I do, I go to protests and I talk to them. And I kind of get the same sense from them that
Yeah, I agree with you, Bill. I think the MAGA base does love America, but the political commentators, all they do is trash America. And so when they trash America, they see it as more of, you're not trashing America, you're just trashing this sect of America. But when you insult and trash a sect of America, you're trashing all of America. That's what I don't think people don't really understand.
they think this country was built on evil and racism and terrible things. They hate what Donald Trump is
I don't think that at all.
doing with securing our border.
Strong.
And they love the idea of allowing abortions up until birth. And I just don't think that these
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Bill. I haven't seen anybody but Ben talk about how America is being good and stuff, which is just so shitty, dude. America is always doing great stuff.
are policies or rhetoric from people who love this country and want to see it thrive. They want to dismantle ICE. They want to tear down our border walls. They want to throw out a duly elected president that most of the country voted for. And it just seems that like a lot of hate is
Yeah,
coming from
abortion
them.
is not a love-hate issue.
That's too
Very
bad.
true.
I don't feel that way. I'm giving Mr. Trump all the support I can.
Perfect.
I think he's doing a good job. I did not vote for him, but I open-mindedly am watching what he's doing, and he's coming along good.
All right.
Oh, this poor woman is just trying to placate her. She doesn't feel that. I'm sorry.
And
So maybe he loves America.
I think he does.
Okay.
I think he does. And I believe that the border problem was decades and decades old.
It was the
and
worst
should
under
have
Joe
been-
Biden.
It should have stopped a long time ago.
Yeah. So are you okay with what Trump's doing with the border and ICE agents?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love to have a perspective by someone who says they're in the middle and they say it's good what he's doing with that. So anyway, it's so hot out here. My feet are literally burning.
I know.
Yeah, go get a drink.
I had a comment because I heard a reference to military.
Yes.
I'm a military widow. Husband's are 27 years. I'm so offended that anybody thinks that the left's rhetoric supports what our nation was founded on. I'm
Of course you are.
70 years old.
The left's rhetoric. So your Trump's rhetoric of saying people don't deserve to be in our military just because there's somebody he disagrees with.
And
That's
when I
okay.
heard her make that statement, I just came unglued because I know what we fought for. I know what my husband went over and fought for. And all the freedoms that we are in the past have fought for are trying to be taken away from us.
By Trump, ladies and gentlemen, not by the left. What are you talking about? Trump's the one. The Republicans are the ones with power right now.
On the left, the Republican side is trying to conserve freedom, family
Oh, I'm sure they're trying to conserve freedom.
values, save
Guys.
babies, and the left is doing the total opposite. Want to inundate our
Whoa. Careful with the L and S word, guys. That might get
country
us
with
banned.
people that my grandparents came here as from Italy through Ellis Island the right way.
Well, guess what? There is no. Do you know what is the right way nowadays? You know the only way to become an American citizen right now is to get married, or through these H-1B1 programs, and they have to leave after. So.
And worked hard in coal mines and farms, and now we're just supposed to open our borders and let anybody come in. I can't support that, nor does our military. That's what we fought for, to protect the American value. There shouldn't be anything on the agenda like that.
I don't know what that's referring to, but the reason I say careful about the LNS word is because I was in a MAGA server once, and I was getting ready to debate with somebody, and we had a little argument, and I called something he said, I said, oh, that's a loser take, and he banned me from it. He banned me from it. He said, no, the L word, we can't have the L word. Meanwhile, I get inundated with the F word and all sorts of horrible shit every day, and I just shrug it off like, oh well, you know? I get it. Some people get mad and stuff, but yeah, he kicked me out for saying that's a loser take. Euro and Travel, you guys probably know him if you're on the lives feed.
Yesterday voting if we should become, what was it, like a socialistic nation.
Condemning socialism,
Yes, that shouldn't even be spoken about in America. So I was so upset when I heard her speak.
That freedom of speech, and that shouldn't be spoken about. Isn't that interesting? They're just looking to mute you. I don't know. I think we were doing pretty good. I don't know.
Speaking because she's closer to my age, and we grew up with families who had to work really, really hard for the American dream. But today
and that's what the immigrants are doing right now. That's what's happening with the immigrants. You just don't think they're coming in, quote unquote, the right way. But there is no extremely easy right, or not even extreme. There's no right way. Unless you get married to somebody, which in that case, I think that brings into question a lot of rights issues and stuff. There's no right way to come into America. I think we need more legal means. We need to open up the legal means to come into America. But Trump's not doing that, you know? If his biggest issue was truly that these people are coming in illegally, then he would be proposing bills on how to come in legally and get vetted and screened and not have any of these issues, but he's not.
I have grandchildren that think, well, they need it 20 what their parents took 50 years to get. It's a difference in the mindset. But I come from my husband, my son, and my grandson all are in the military, and they're all on the right,
Okay.
not on the left.
Well, you actually
And that's
didn't even
like
let me engage in any conversation with you,
Okay,
so
go
you don't
ahead.
really know what I'm saying.
So about
I
the
found, yeah.
Wow,
So when
how
I
fucking rude. You don't really know what I'm saying. That's mean as fuck. Plus, right now there is literally, there's no legal ways to enter into the country right now. And you can't even apply for asylum right now because of Donald Trump. So think about it. A cartel gang could be chasing you, and you're going to have to wait because of what happened in D.C.
go out to these protests, I notice a common theme with leftists in general. They all seem to go back to the
Yeah, I know, right? Very interesting, that cut right
founding
there.
of this country with a lot of disdain. They claim that America was inherently built on racism and we're evil and we committed genocide to be here. America shouldn't even exist because we're on stolen land. Furthermore,
Absolutely not. You were sold a lie that America is great because of, well, that's not a lie. We are great because of our diversity. And I completely disagree with your premise. I think we're amazing because of our diversity. I think it creates opportunity. I think it creates new ideas. I think it keeps us from stagnating into old philosophies that are outdated. I love our diversity.
they promote policies that weaken our southern border and they just let anybody in. And a lot of people don't even, hold on, a lot of people that I talk to
Well, don't look into Trump's construction companies if you're concerned about Marjorie Taylor Greene's. I liked Yu-Gi-Oh better anyways.
don't even support ICE or a southern border being protected in general, and they think that there's no reason for a border. What's the point of a country? How can you love a
Complete straw man. Complete straw
country that you don't even think has the right to protect itself? So those are two main points that
Okay, your immigration policy, where do you think you came from? What school system were you in prior to this? Were you taught in the South or were you taught in the North?
Yeah, I'm from Ohio.
You're from Ohio.
Yeah.
White girl. Ohio, though. White boy. That's a little everyday bro reference
So
for you guys.
in our school system here in Florida and the South, they changed the history books to say that slavery was just a picnic for African American slaves.
Yeah, that's not true.
It's that everyday bro with that just Disney Channel flow. No such thing as a straw man anymore. America Incorporated is gone. This guy hates America. Joshua Reeder hates America. There are other countries on earth to seek asylum from. Well, the issue is, especially on our southern border, is that there's not a lot of other countries to go to unless you have means to go across the world. America really is one of the only countries these people can go to. And to go back onto the straw man, there's no such thing as a straw man. That's just literally a debate term. So I don't think America has changed the debate logic, but I could be wrong.
And that is not true. But this is
The
the
cooperation of the U.S. is gone. I don't think so. We're cooperating very well with places like Israel, Saudi Arabia, all these places. We're cooperating well with our NATO allies. What are you talking about? U.S. cooperation is gone.
It's not true that they did not do that.
We could agree to disagree.
Yeah,
and
no, well,
then
I'm not gonna.
No, Joshua, I think you need to learn to be more pertinent. You need to learn to be more articulate. I think that's what you need.
Agree to disagree with the lie. That's inherently false. But could you touch on the topics that I mentioned?
Well, I've actually just covered both of your examples. So luckily, Joshua, you should have some meat to chew on there.
Yes, I'm talking about immigration and how
Are you talking about slavery?
So that would be a form of immigration.
Okay.
We stole and kidnapped people from Africa to do our work in America. That's not a lie.
Yeah, I never claimed that slavery didn't exist.
That's
I'm not sure what.
immigration. That's immigration.
I don't think that's immigration. I think that's the slave trade, and it was criminal and it was disgusting.
Exactly, but you can't say that we weren't a country raised on slavery when it's true. All the encampments that we did of
I didn't make that claim though. Back to my claim, I said when I talk to people, they all say that America was started on an inherent evil basis, that America shouldn't even exist because we are on stolen land, and that we have
that any leftist has said we shouldn't exist as America. We should exist. America wasn't America when we came.
Right.
It was people coming over with the idea of
Joshua, you're just an angry little bot, aren't you? You're just an angry little bot. I love you though for typing in my chat. I appreciate it.
how they wanted America to be.
Right.
And I don't believe that any leftist would say shouldn't be America. So
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure where you're getting your information from.
From
but
the
it's
hundreds of people I talk
very
to
easy
every month. Yeah.
to research this information yourself. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't need to be out. I mean, you can certainly, and talking to different people and different people's opinions. But once you're in that trove of talking to people that are like-minded and all these ideas just swirl around and there's no compromise. There's no compromise of idea sharing. It's your opinion. Now tell me why my opinion is wrong. Are you actually
Pathetic
considering
for attacking the
that you-
commenters? No, I'm not, dude. You're the one who decided to comment in here. You don't like how it is, you can get out of the... If you don't like the heat, you can get out of the kitchen. But I'm sorry I hurt your feelings there, buddy. You might need to grow a pair.
Your opinions could be wrong.
I literally say change my mind. Yeah, that's the whole point, is that I could be wrong, so I'm here. I'm
go.
open
See, now you're engaging. Now you're going, you know, I like that. That's funny.
to people telling me I'm wrong, proving that I'm wrong, and changing my mind. The sign literally says it.
It literally is clickbait.
Perhaps maybe you're just not doing a good job of changing my mind.
I'm not here to change your mind.
Okay.
You're the one here. Yeah, that's something else. She's like, change my mind in a crowd full of people that don't really want to change.
I
your
don't think
mind.
that your mind can be changed, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
under the dome of what your opinions are.
She's living in a hyper reality. And unfortunately, to destroy the hyper reality, she's going to have to come to terms with the fact that she's living in one. And not even Joe Rogan has done that.
And that's where you will stand.
Okay. What do you love about America?
I love the freedoms that we're allotted. I'm happy to be a woman and be able to vote. I'm happy to be a woman and be able to own my own land.
Right.
More than you, Joshua.
I'm happy.
You can do that in many
Actually,
places in
if
the
you want
world.
my
Why do you love
actual number of
America?
likes,
That's one of the foundations of America.
Right.
Is
actually about 7.
the strides
Okay.
that we have made. Women weren't allowed to even, they were property, just like African Americans were.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anybody who was not a white man at the time was considered a pet. I mean, we've made strides. Our democracy, our check and balances. I mean, there's a lot of things that sets America apart from the rest of the world.
I believe broadly that the left, with their rhetoric and their policies, seems to hate America. And anybody who might disagree, I'm opening up a dialogue, they can change my mind.
Well, I don't think that the left hates America, and I don't think that the right hates America. I think what we need to do is find a middle and be able to work to a common ground.
Okay.
I understand there's rhetoric on both sides. I tend to be more on left. I find that we tend to be compassionate. Sometimes we give a little more than we should. And I think the right wants to reel us in, and I don't think that's necessarily inappropriate.
Okay. What do you mean you are generally compassionate to the point it's too much and the right wants to reel you in?
Well, I'm talking about like
All
our
right,
expected
folks, I'm probably gonna
services.
end the
You know,
stream
like
here. I got some stuff I gotta do, some chores and stuff like that, errands I gotta run. So unfortunately, I am going to be logging out a little earlier today, but that's all right. I'll be back here tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday, so we will be having an especially long day where we get into gaming and all stuff like that. But unfortunately, I have to go get ready for my job. Womp womp. But that's all right. Remember, guys, if you enjoyed the stream, please make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, gets me out there in the algorithm. I do fix my mic. Yeah, I'm going to be working on fixing my mic, because that is extremely annoying that it's messing up like that. But anyways, guys, I will see you guys in the next stream. Let me get my music going here, and we will log out. Let's go to Move Out. I like that one. Anyways, guys, have an amazing day. Go raid Kalinda. She is streaming right now, I believe. So go raid Kalinda. Tell her I said what's up. And we will see you guys in the next stream. Peace.